Hello and welcome back to the Karma Stories podcast. I'm Rob and I hope you are having a wonderful day today. Today I have 6 stories for you from the Malicious Compliance subreddit. And you may not like me today because my comments are all aboard the pun train. The Karma Stories podcast is published to all major podcasting platforms, and you can also read along on YouTube under our @Karma Stories podcast handle. Alright, on to the stories and the horrible puns. Let's jump right in. This story comes to us from No Recording 6287, taking the exact amount of pictures requested. During the holidays, I work as an assistant manager at what is essentially a retail photo op booth. Pictures with a mall Santa. The company normally wants us to only take a maximum of 3 pictures per group. The problem with this, for us, is that the pictures are purchased in expensive packages, ranging from $40 to $50 for 3 different options, with each add-on picture being $10, meaning the smallest package and a single add-on would cost the same as the largest package, but with less items. The most expensive package includes several printouts, big and small, of 2 poses separated evenly between them, and a digital file that has access to each click of the camera. The middle package only gave you the small printouts and the digital file, and the cheapest package only gave you the small photos. When we aren't busy, we like to take our time with each family to make sure we get the most out of the pictures and give them a good experience. The system lets us take up to 15 pictures before some pictures have a chance of being accidentally deleted off the system. So we try to get as close as we can. So if you got a package with a digital file, you would have a lot of extra pictures that were printed out. One morning, me and another assistant manager were the only ones on set for the first hour. Let's call her Jessie. I love her. We all did. She was a super nice woman who sometimes gave too much good treatment to nice customers, even going as far as to outright break the rules. She was also very petty to rude customers. We were on maybe our 5th customer of the slow morning. It's early in the season, and no one comes in early December to get their Santa photos, when one lady, let's call her Karen, with her like 5 kids, starts getting really impatient. She wasn't in line for more than maybe 10 minutes, and when we get busy, most people would be in line for anywhere from 30 minutes to several hours. Jessie goes over to talk to her while I'm taking pictures of the family I have with me, but I was listening to their conversation. I'm paraphrasing, but it goes something like this. "Hi ma'am, can I help you? What seems to be the problem? Do you have to take so much time with all of them? We are trying to give every child their time with Santa Claus. The experience is the best part. We've been waiting here for over an hour. Just take one darn picture and send them away. Ma'am, I don't care. Hurry this crap up. Just one picture for family. That's how it should be." I could hear Jessie's eye twitch as I finished up with the current family. "You're right, ma'am. We should be doing 1 photo per family." Right on cue, I waved at her to tell her I was ready for the next family. She asks me to finish ringing up the previous family while she took care of Karen. Per Karen's request, Jessie situated everyone perfectly and set up the camera. She took a single click of the camera, didn't even check if it was a good picture, and told Karen they were all done. She ushered them to the cash register and made sure she didn't let any of the kids stay behind to talk to Santa Claus. The kids thankfully didn't seem to mind too much, as I would have felt bad for punishing kids for their parents' behavior. The kicker is that with that one picture, Karen begrudgingly still bought the most expensive package, which includes the digital file that normally would have had access to every photo, but now only has that one lone picture. Oh, Jessie, your handling of this situation was absolutely picture perfect. Your ability to focus on providing a great experience for everyone while dealing with the impatience of the customer was nothing short of brilliant. You really captured the essence of excellent customer service by addressing her concerns swiftly, even when she was being negative. You managed to develop a solution that was both sharp and clear. Your quick thinking to take just one shot truly framed the moment perfectly. Despite the exposure to her impatience, you didn't snap under pressure. Instead, you zoomed in on the problem and provided a flash solution that highlighted your professionalism. You composed yourself beautifully and shudderingly amazed everyone with your brilliance. This story comes to us from Kid and More. New neighbor didn't like my old fence, so I took it down. About 5 or 6 years ago, I built a fence in my backyard. I talked to my neighbors and we decided on a good place to build the fence. We knew an approximate property line based on some survey pins, but were both too cheap to pay for a surveyor. We shook hands and I built the fence. It was a great deal for my neighbors. I paid for everything, built the fence, and all they had to do was give me a thumbs up when it was done. Then, a year later, they sold their house. That meant I got a new neighbor. More specifically, I got Anne. Anne was from the big city. Anne was a realtor. Anne had flipped 8 houses in 12 years. Anne loved this new house and planned on staying for a long time. And Anne had a dog. Razzie was a German Shepherd mix that spent most of the day outside while Anne went to work. Razzie was aggressive towards children, animals, insects, and any plant that waved in the breeze. Razzie also, as Anne once told me, loved to chew on furniture. That's why Razzie stayed outside so much. About 6 months after Anne moved in, I saw a surveyor walking around in my neighborhood, and he was paying special attention to my backyard. The next day, Anne showed up at my front door with a stack of papers and asked me if I was going to pay her for the 9 inches that my fence was encroaching onto her property. I explained the handshake deal with the last neighbors, but she was having no part of it. She wanted the fence moved, or she wanted money, no discussions. She had spoken to her lawyer friend and was perfectly happy to take me to court over the fence. She told me, "I don't know how you guys do it out here in the sticks, but where I come from, we follow the rules." So I got rid of the fence. The next day, I unscrewed the horizontal rails from the brackets, stacked the fence panels up against my garage, and pulled up the fence post with my work van. About a week later, Anne shows up at my front door again. She wants to know when I'm going to be building a new fence. Turns out, with my portion of the fence, she has not been able to let Razzie out unattended, for fear that he will run away, attack something, or get hit by a car. She also told me she can't keep him in the house all day while she's at work anymore. Her furniture and carpet are all but ruined. I told her, "Well, Anne, I'm not going to be rebuilding the fence. I don't want any legal trouble, and the best way to stay out of trouble is to not build near your property." The look on her face was priceless. I thought she was going to cry. She probably did when she got back home. She tried to protest, saying that she really needed the fence back, and she would even help pay for the new one. She told me how much she loved the style and aesthetic of the old one, and it was just the location that she had a problem with. I stood firm. There would be no new fence. She never got a fence. She made a half-hearted attempt to put up some bamboo fencing, but Razzie tore through that stuff like wet newspaper. Eventually, I sold my place and moved away. I took the old fence panels with me, and I still look at them every day when I let my dog out in the morning. OP, what a fantastic story. You really nailed that situation with Anne. Sometimes people just don't understand the boundary between being reasonable and being unreasonable. Anne really tried to rail you into a corner, but you stood your ground and didn't let her pick at you apart. You showed her that a handshake deal is something to be upheld, even if she wants to tear it down. Her plans backfired fensibly, and it's great to see that you didn't let her push you around. Good fences make good neighbors, but in this case, removing it made for an even better lesson. This story comes to us from Erroneous Bosch. "Oh, you want all my fuel receipts every month? Certainly, make some room." We had a new office admin start in the expenses department who decided that all the rules were to be followed to the letter. And if it made it inconvenient for people to claim expenses back, so much the better. It'd make her department look far more efficient, reducing costs and all. At the time, I was working in a group of 4 people, going out to fix things in remote places. We had one company Land Rover, which 2 guys went in. Another guy used his own van and claimed for the diesel. And I used my own Range Rover, which was ridiculously suitable for getting out into the trackless waste. This guy in the company Land Rover just used the company fuel card, and the other 2 of us claimed for our mileage. But then I got my mileage back with a note saying that in the future, they would not accept the claim without every fuel receipt for the month being attached in full. No copies, no partial receipts, and definitely enough fuel indicated on the receipts to cover the distance claimed for. Right then, it's like that, is it? As I mentioned, I drove an old Range Rover, still do in fact. It's big, it's heavy, it has a ridiculous 4.6 liter V8 engine, so it can drag trailers up mountains easily, and it gets through a lot of gas. No, not gas like gasoline, like Americans call it. This is Scotland. We call that petrol. I've only ever put about a gallon or 2 of petrol in a month, just enough to get the engine started and warmed up. Like a lot of older vehicles with big thirsty engines, it's converted to run on propane. There's a big tank in the back where the spare wheel would go, a bit of extra plumbing, and a special controller to adapt the fuel injection system to cope. With gas being about half the price of petrol, it made a lot of economic sense, especially when I was claiming for anything up to 2,000 miles of travel a month. That is a lot of propane. That's filling the tank about 10 times a month, and they want a receipt for every fill up. So here's where Malicious Compliance kicks in. I started fueling up at the local Cal or gas depot, making sure I got them to print me off a full receipt for it. Each receipt was 3 pages of the pink copy of tractor feed duplicate paper, and you just know it was the wide carriage 14.5-inch stuff. Wads and effing wads of bright pink tractor paper for every claim. The policy lasted 3 months, then they decided they only needed the first receipt for the month as long as it had a VAT number on it. A week after they changed the policy, Caller stopped doing autogas, so I had to start getting normal receipts from the supermarket filling station instead. Wow, what a foolish policy that admin came up with. It's almost exhausting to think about all that paperwork. You really tanked their plans by giving them exactly what they asked for, with those propensive receipts. It's funny how they thought they could gaslight you into extra work, but you ingenuously found a way to drive the point home. It's a classic case of somebody getting revved up about the rules. Glad to hear the policy stalled, and you could return to a more fuel-efficient process. Keep on cruising, OP. I think you've got the drive to handle any bureaucratic bump in the road. This story comes to us from Leading Economics 79. What? My 8-year-old brought it out. Full story, my dad was working on the fence in the front pasture when the trash guy came by one day. We had an extra bag that day. We were allowed one beside the rolling bin, so the guy had to get out to get it. My dad didn't pay much mind to them until he heard, "Holy crap!" He looked up at the trash guy, staring down in disbelief at the lone trash bag. "What's in this?" My dad shrugged. "It's trash. I don't know what the problem is. My 8-year-old daughter brought it out this morning." You see, growing up, we lived on a small family farm, and we generated a lot of trash. The rule for trash was the bin and one extra bag. My dad always made it fit. Fortunately, we had grain bags that were woven material that wouldn't burst no matter what you put in them. So he'd jam everything in, then use his backhoe to compress it down, and repeat until the bag was full. Then we'd duct tape the bag shut. We would get probably 5 to 6 bags worth of trash to fit into one bag easily. Maybe even more, depending on what we were throwing away. Most weeks, Dad would get everything to fit into the rolling bin, but there was one week that we had a ton of extra trash that required we use the extra bag outside the rolling bin. Dad packed that bag with the backhoe until it was bursting at the seams. It was so heavy that we used a wheelbarrow to get it to the end of the driveway. Me and my sister, probably 8 and 13 at the time. We dumped the bag next to the bin. Hey, there was no weight limit on the trash. So yes, Technically, the 8-year-old did bring the trash out, but she had help and a wheelbarrow. Wow, your dad really knew how to trash the competition when it came to taking out the garbage. This story is rubbishly hilarious. It's amazing how he managed to bag such a heavy load with his innovative methods. Using a backhoe to compact the trash into those grain bags. Talk about taking it to the dumpteenth degree. Thank you for sharing this waste not worthy tale. It's definitely one for the scrapbooks. This story comes to us from Different Leg 9411. Don't want 6 bags of trash? Fine. Not a super long or interesting story, but it's malicious compliance on my mom's part. My mom called it petty and giggled about it to me. I live in an HOA, and every Wednesday morning we have trash men come and pick up our trash. They're fine for the most part, other than being messy occasionally. My mom often forgets to put out the trash, and our bags end up piling up. This week, before Wednesday, I decided to clean out my room and closet, which has been a mess since December. I'm rarely home, so I rarely have time to clean. I ended up putting around 6 trash bags downstairs. On Wednesday, my mom put out 6 trash bags because we had a good 12 to 15 trash bags in the basement. She comes later to 2 of the trash bags left with a big notice of violation paper stapled to one of them. Cue my mom's malicious compliance. My mom got the huge black garbage bags, which are a lot larger than the small white ones we used, and put at least 4 of the white garbage bags in each. She also put all of our cat litter bags, we have a litter robot so it's bags of waste, in all of the bags for some weight. She put as many white trash bags in the black ones because there was no size or weight limit to the trash. In the end, all of our trash fit in 4 trash bags. My mom laughed and told me this yesterday and said, "They sure picked up those trash bags. Screw the HOA." Ah yes, mom bags a win against the HOA. Do you think the trash collectors were literally stunned by the sheer volume of those hefty black bags? Kudos to mom for dumping the problem right back where it belonged and getting those trash men to haul it all away. Oh, and I agree, screw the HOA indeed. This story comes to us from Here for Snow. Don't come in late during rehab. This was when I worked in a manufacturing facility, the chemical lab. I damaged 2 ligaments in my left knee skiing, ACL, MCL, had surgery, was on crutches. Morning rehab, afternoon rehab, home rehab, all my free time and then some was rehab. But our company ran 24/7, 365, so time off was rare. We were a tight crew, worked hard, and had each other's backs. Our company had just been acquired by an international oil chem conglomerate, bringing better benefits to us salary workers. Also, new middle managers. I came to work on crutches, directly from the rehab from its first appointment of the day. I left in time to catch the last rehab appointment of the day. That meant I still put in 5 or so hours each workday. About 2 weeks in, I'm called in to see the new boss. I'm told it looks bad that I come in late and leave on off hours, not during shift changes. I pointed out we have full paid sick leave now, so I'll just stop coming in at all until I'm fully recovered. I had 8 months off, fully paid. Then I tacked on vacation days because I'd been earning PTO every pay cycle I was off. Talk about turning a needless situation into a win. It's amazing how you manage to rehabilitate not just your knee, but your work-life balance too. It's clear they didn't understand the legwork involved in your recovery. Instead of seeing your dedication, they tried to trip you up. But you sure showed them the heel of your foot as you walked out on fully paid leave. Well done, OP. Your story is a step above the rest. Alright, even I'm cringing after that many puns. But if you're listening on YouTube, make sure you comment down below and let me know what you thought of this one, even if you're angry with me right now. If you enjoy daily Reddit stories, I encourage you to follow and add us to the favorites on whichever podcasting platform you enjoy the most. Also, if you're listening and watching on YouTube, make sure to hit that subscribe button and drop a like on the video. It really helps us out. I thank you for watching and listening. I hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you tomorrow.